Hello everyone. In today's video we're going to take a look at Plotly. Plotly is a fantastic library if you want to produce browser-based interactive charts and visualization. And Plotly has been around for a while now, and the last time I took a look at it was in one of the earlier versions, and had a look at it more recently, and I was pleasantly surprised by some of the enhancements, and I wanted to create a quick video to showcase Plotly. Now, you might be asking why you need Plotly to begin with. Apart from the fact that it comes with amazing graphics visualization, one of the things you'll want to keep in mind is that R, of course, has great graphics and visualization capabilities. It produces publishing quality charts. Like if you're using ggplot2, for example, you can create some amazing charts and plots. However, those are fairly static. I mean, it's static really. It's not interactive. And in some of the analysis that you're doing, you want to have that experience where you can visually slice and dice the data, filter through the data, interactively select, deselect the data, etc. So that's really where you will want to look at external libraries outside of R, and Plotly is a great example. The other reason you want to look at Plotly is from an open source standpoint. So progressively, it's become more and more open source. So at this point in time, pretty much the entire framework is now open source. Have a read through this link here. It provides more details. So essentially, or the most recent component that was open source is actually the JavaScript library itself that does much of the UI rendering. So that's been open source. So it's also MIT licensed. So that's fantastic. It's much more flexible for both ISVs and even enterprises who are looking to build great visualization capabilities but are not tied down to a closed source system. And finally, the other reason I thought Plotly was quite compelling was the fact that Plotly as a library works across different tool sets. So, of course, this video is going to be focused around R, but if you or your team develop both in R and Python and possibly even MATLAB, so it's much more convenient to use one library. So, of course, there are various other libraries that are very platform or programming language specific. So you might have other great visualization charting packages that are just for R or just for Python, but Plotly works across R, Python, and MATLAB. So that's fabulous. Then of course there's the JavaScript library itself to tinker around. So that's the basic context. So let's take a look at what we can do with Plotly. So as you can see on the page here, there's quite a range of different visualizations, and here these are some examples which we'll try directly in R in a bit, but showcasing on some of the examples itself. So we talked about interactive experience, so you can see how rich that experience is. Apart from basic interactions like mouse over, again, if you have charts densely populated with data, and we'll see more detailed examples later on, but if you wanted to do actions like zooming into a section, the ability to pan, interact, zoom in, zoom out, etc., all that's fabulous. One of the best demos I've seen of 3D and WebGL was on Plotly, however, or is on Plotly, but I'm actually running this video off of a virtual machine, and I don't have a graphics card enabled, and hence it's not rendering, but I would encourage you to take a look at some of these visualizations. Again, it may or may not be useful in your day-to-day life, but it's definitely inspiring to see how you can create rich visualizations even in 3D. So let's jump into R and actually run some of these examples. So to get started with, I wanted to run this particular example that you're seeing here, but within R. And once we run that example, we'll take a look at how you can use some of the standard, code that you have already written using ggplot2 and how you can repurpose that using Plotly. The first thing you'll want to do is install the package Plotly, and once you've installed it, you're pretty much good to go. Simple installation. So let's start with the first example. So again, this is from the website itself, just to see how things are working. So let's run that. So I'm of course running the CRAN R suite, but IDE, you can of course run RStudio, and it has a much nicer integration there. Here, what's happened behind the scene is it's generated a self-contained kind of like an HTML and a set of libraries and assets on your local temporary drive. Focusing more on the visualization, you can see, it's really beautiful charts, beautiful, very, very interactive charts. Again, you could do static charts in R, but having this level of interactivity is very helpful, particularly when you're working with lots of data, either dense data or even data if you have a lot of high dimensionality style of data and you wanted to analyze that. It makes it a breeze to interact with your data. So that's a quick example. But then was wondering, how would most people utilize Plotly? And what's very interesting is that if you are already using ggplot2 and a lot of your code's already using those charts and you're very comfortable with ggplot, utilizing Plotly is a breeze. So as an example, I'm going to take that the iris data set, and I've actually tried running a few examples, not just on iris, but a few other data examples, just to see how you can convert or repurpose or utilize the charting code that you have already written from ggplot2 to Plotly. So as an example, here we have the iris data set, and using ggplot2's functions. Here's a great chart. However, again, it's very static. Now using the same chart, we can use Plotly, without any code change. As you can see, you can pretty much just with one line plot that using Plotly. So now again, you have a nice web-based interactive experience. It's interactive, so you can mouse over, analyze that data. It's also helpful when you want to do some filtering. So for example, I'm more interested in the cluster of the two flowers here. So for example, if I wanted to deselect that, and again, in this particular case, the data isn't that dense, but if I wanted to zoom in and filter or zoom in and analyze it further, of course, Plotly makes it very easy to do so. So that was an example with very limited set of data. Let's look at something a little more involved. So we have the diamonds data set, which is in the ggplot2 library. So think it's a matrix of about 53,000, close to 54,000 observations there. So if we run that just using ggplot, you can see that it creates quite a dense chart. So just wanted to see the performance of Plotly against such a dense data set. So let's run that. So it takes a while for the file to actually be generated, or the HTMLs itself. So again, it depends on the processing power of your computer. Again, I'm running this on a modest virtual machine here. So if you have a much faster PC, you'll find significantly better performance. So again, it's generated it in Plotly, and again, great visualization experience. So this is really where some of that interactivity, if you will, comes in handy. So let's just say, for example, I'm only interested in seeing, say, a premium. I can deselect some of the others, or again, it depends on what particulars you're trying to analyze. But as you can see here, it's more than 50, around 54,000 plots. So if I wanted to, for example, zoom into a section here, it makes that interaction and visual discovery a lot more usable and friendlier. Then you can further zoom in, etc., etc. So it's quite an amazing interactive experience. Then it got me thinking that, what else can you do with Plotly? So I've started throwing more complex or more heavier kind of visualizations at it. So just to see how far I could push Plotly. And so for example, I wanted to plot something like this. And Plotly kind of like works with that too. All right, so it's just loaded up. So as you can see, it's done a reasonably good job at presenting that chart data. So of course, you can continue to zoom in, slice, filter, etc. And then I was like, there must be some limitations to Plotly. So I was trying some cheeky examples. So here in this particular case, I thought I'd take an example where, oops, let me install that. As I mentioned before, I ran this script on my main desktop before recording this on my video. So I had the package already installed. So what I was saying is I tried plotting it using hexagons instead of the standard plots. So wanted to see how well it fared with Plotly. So again, this is me just being a little bit cheeky here, or trying to push the boundaries of what Plotly can do. So in this particular instance, it didn't work, but what was very nice is they've actually highlighted that that's not yet implemented, and how we can get in touch with the team to raise issues and support. So I mean, I wouldn't look at that as a big limitation in itself. Overall, as you can see, it's a extremely powerful visualization library, and there's lots of other examples here. I've just shown you some very basic examples, but if you go out to the website, you can see some really great examples. Again, I can't show you anything that's using WebGL because I haven't enabled the graphics uh, accelerator, the card on this particular VM here. But have a look at some of these links. What I particularly found quite impressive was sections like the heat map itself. Really immersive experience. So you can see some amazing visualizations that you can produce using Plotly. So even standard functionality like zoom in, drill down, etc. Even standard bars, charts, and various others. So very, very smooth, kind of like drawings. So Plotly itself has been built on top of D3, and of course utilizes WebGL for some of the 3D charts. There are other much richer, much more immersive experiences, like if you wanted to build dashboards. So I'll let you explore all of this on your own, but just wanted to highlight some really compelling and interesting visualizations that you can use Plotly for. So some of these are not really intended for business audiences. So for them, possibly the more traditional bar charts, pie charts, kind of like visualizations good. But when you're doing complex analysis, of course, things like scientific analysis is perfect for. But also, if you're doing things like machine learning, for example, visualizing that data can be incredibly powerful. So if you wanted to, again, depending on the domain and the kind of algorithms that you're using for machine learning, I think Plotly gives it a good opportunity to visually understand your data, understand and things like outliers very much easy when you visualize the data when you're starting your machine learning projects and algorithms. So that was a quick tour of Plotly. I thought I'd create a quick video based on the more recent announcements in November of 2015. Hope the video has been helpful. Let me know what you think of Plotly. Thanks, everyone. Bye.